Hello again and welcome to another video. In this video I'll be drawing a boxer in some cool green shades. It's going to have a watercolour undercoat with coloured pencil drawn on top of it for the details. I'll be mainly using Derwent Lightfast and Polychromos combined, and the watercolours are made by Schmincke. So let me just explain what's going on. I've started off with the sunglasses, but I've decided to completely draw them out in coloured pencil. And the fur is going to have a base coat of watercolour, mainly to save myself time. And once you start adding the details with the coloured pencil, you'll definitely get the same result. But you'll definitely see what I mean by that towards the end of the portrait. I use 3 different shades of green for these sunglasses, or 3 different pencils, and that's a light green, a leaf green and a permanent green. For the shadows I use Mars Black, which you know is my favourite pencil. If you've watched my previous videos you'll understand why. I think that it can take any colour and give you a nice shadow version of that colour just by lightly shading on top of it. So the colour you can see right now on the sunglasses is light green, and that's my lightest colour. So I would lay that down first, and it's all over the glasses. The only place I haven't shaded in are the places where there are harsh lighting, wherever the lighting is coming from, it's reflecting really harshly, and that would be bright white, so you just leave the white of the paper. I'm getting up the tonal values of the pencils that I've chosen. So after I've gone from light green, I'll go leaf green and permanent green, and then I'll hit it with the Mars Black in the mostly shadow areas, but I don't want a black shadow or a grey shadow, I want a green shadow. So if you lightly shade over the top of any coloured pencil that you've laid down, in this case green, you should get a darker version of that colour, and it works 9 times out of 10, I've never had a problem. Also, you can notice in the bend of where the glass of the sunglasses would sit, I suppose, there is a subtle reflection. That's why I said leave the paper white. And because there's green around it, it still looks like it's slightly green, but it's not. It's just the white of the paper. It's just your mind filling in the blanks. Also, it helps to create the illusion of a shiny surface, because obviously these sunglasses will be made of plastic, and plastic is a shiny surface. And you can really see where I've left the white of the paper so it can shine through for them really harsh reflections. It's so good at creating a reflective glossy surface. And it being up against the black of the eye socket and the green on the other side with a bit of Mars Black really helps it to stand out. I'm saying don't underestimate leaving the paper white. I do it all the time. It's so much better than using a white coloured pencil. I only need to shade out one lens for these sunglasses because only one of them protrudes past the portrait for you to see through it. And I've shaded this in with a colour called Delft Blue, something like that. I can't really pronounce it, that's how it's spelled, Delft Blue, in the Polychromos range, and a dark indigo, and I've shaded the whole thing out in that Delft Blue first, leaving a small patch of white at the bottom to help with that reflection, because obviously it's glass, it's reflective again. And then I've gone from the top down with dark indigo, keeping it darker at the top, and then I've gone back and forth with them two colours on top of each other to create a nice lens for these sunglasses. Okay, so a dog's nose is quite hard to shade out, to be fair. I always look at a dog's nose like it's a rocky surface or tarmac or something like that. Kind of imagine that it's that. They have quite textured noses that look like cracks in the nose. So what I do is, with the Mars Black pencil, I just drew loads of jaggedy, cracky lines all through the nose. And then after I've done that, I'll go in with a pencil rubber and soften all the edges, because even though you want them to be seen, you don't want them to be seen at the same time. So you need to soften them so it doesn't draw in the viewer's eye when they look at your portrait. Also, they tend to have wet noses, so they'll reflect light just like the glasses do. And you want to leave a nice white spot wherever the light is reflecting. Just leave the paper white, because then you can't go wrong. Even if it's too harsh, you can go over it later after the portrait's finished and dumb it down a bit. Also, once them cracks are drawn in, I lightly shaded over it with the Mars Black. And I've done that because it's basically another softening technique for them cracks in the nose, because I'm trying to create the impression of detail when there is no detail there, and that's normally easier to achieve with the less is more technique. And I'll give you an example of that. If you have a dog and you look at it right now, you know it's covered in fur, but you can't see every strand of hair within that fur. You just see a mass of colours. All you'll see is a few hairs flicking off here and there, which tells you that it's fur, but your eyes don't see it that way. Your eyes just see shapes and colours, but your mind knows it's fur. At this point I'm ready to start painting the fur with a watercolour, but first I have quickly shaped out the rest of the dog with that Mars Black pencil, only lightly. You know, I just want to see where I'm going. It just makes painting much more fun if you've already got the shape there. And I've gone straight in with Naples yellow, and it looks like a mess, obviously, because why would a dog have yellow in its fur? But you'd be surprised, you know, this dog's got quite reddish brownish fur, but in the lighter areas it's quite yellow. And literally all I'm doing here is creating a colour base for the entire portrait. It saves me so much time than drawing it all out in colour pencil, and you'll get the same result. I'm going from Naples yellow. I think I mixed Naples yellow with a burgundy brown, and I put that on, that gave me another value, and then I used a burgundy type of brown again, and then I start adding in Paynes grey, and I start gradually going from light to dark with my colours, but I don't need to be neat because the details will come from the colour pencil, and this is how I wanted it. It's less is more. Basically them watercolours are going to shine through the colour pencil and really help me, and it'll be so much quicker. As you can tell, it's a dog, and you can tell that from me just adding in them block watercolours. It already looks quite good, and this is what I meant by adding that impression of detail. You know it's a dog in your mind, so you assume that it's covered in fur, so you're seeing the fur, even though I haven't painted any fur. I've literally painted Naples yellow, a couple of burgundy browns, and some Paynes grey. You are creating the impression of detail without actually adding any detail yet. Okay, so it's finally time for them details in coloured pencil, finally. And this is going to go so fast because I've already put down base tones with watercolour, so the colours are already there really. All I'm literally going to be doing is drawing out strands of hair. And if you look at the dog's snout, I've already shaded in one side of it to show you what I mean. And all I've used there is a colour called gold, a couple of greys and a Mars black to create that illusion of fur. And I've literally just drawn strands of hair in the direction of the face. And I've also scraped out a bit with a scalpel to create little light bits of fur. And for the rest of the portrait, I'm going to be using a colour called Autumn Brown and Mars Black, and you might see me use a black pencil as well to create that heavy contrast because I love oversaturated artwork. It's just my personal preference, you don't have to do that. And all I'm going to be doing is drawing in strands of hair, long and short, in the shape and direction of where the face is going, over the top of the watercolour, to create the illusion of realism. And the reason why it'll go so fast is because really your colour's already there, it's already done. Okay, so that's it for this video guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, I will answer. If you subscribed, you're awesome. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, like if you want to as well. Thank you very much for watching.